Hello and welcome to another whiteboard training video. I'm going to talk to you today about using your PhD to start a business. Now, this is not something that you'll want to turn away from even if you are currently in a job or trying to get an industry job. In fact, the best time to start a business is when you're in the middle of your job search or is when you already have a job. There's a myth that you need to fire your boss and not have a job to get a job or not need a job. What you should do is what I've done, what countless other PhDs have done, which is during your job search, while you're working an industry job, set up your business, start a business, create a second stream of income. It can start as a service. Maybe it's some consulting, maybe it's freelance work. Maybe you are already ready to pitch investors. Maybe you already have a business and you need to grow it. Either way, these 10 steps are going to help you start and or grow a business. It'll even help you if you are considering or already working in a startup. These are key principles that help businesses of any kind get off the ground and grow. And the reason that I'm sharing this with you now is because it's never been a better time to use your PhD to start a business. PhDs are the best entrepreneurs because a startup, by definition, is a temporary experiment. And that is something that you excel in. As a PhD, you are incredibly good at gathering information and data, feedback, doing research, and on the other end of it, analyzing that data, analyzing that information, and drawing actionable conclusions. This, more than anything else, is what's required for effectively starting or growing a business or working in a startup. And these 10 steps, these 10 principles, are going to help you do both of those things. Again, get a startup off the ground or work in a startup. Number 1, idea validation. This, surprisingly, is where most PhDs fail when they try to start a business, or maybe you're in the middle of a spin-off at your university. Maybe you have something going with your university's tech transfer office. Maybe you already made the leap to start your business, or you've just thought to yourself over and over again, and you know deep down, I need to start a business. This is likely where you're going to get stuck. PhDs are very good at doing the research. They're very good at creating things, innovating, the productization process, which we'll talk about in a minute, they're really good at. But interacting with customers, interacting with a market, interacting with people in general, interacting with potential clients, investors, it's a challenge for them. There was a huge report from Cambridge Enterprises, which invests millions specifically in PhDs who want to start their business, that said all these PhDs are failing. Most of them fail for exactly this reason. They never understand the voice of the customer. They never do any sort of qualitative study of potential customers. They avoid all of the client-facing stuff. They go away and they build something on their own for months and months and months and never get feedback on whether or not what they're building is going to work. It all starts with idea validation. Whether you have an idea or you're trying to choose the right idea, you need to validate. It's called ideation in today's world. This is very simple. It can be sending out surveys to a certain group of people. It can be going to a coffee shop and talking about your idea or ideas with people. Now, you're going to have an instinct as a PhD that you don't want to share your idea with anybody because they're going to steal it. It's not proprietary at this point. You're not going to tell them how you're going to execute your idea, which is really the important part and sometimes the important part not to share. But you can talk about the what your idea is all the time. You need to see if people get excited about it. You need to see who actually has a problem that you can solve. Is there a need for that? So idea validation comes down to interacting with real people, getting off campus, for example, talking to non-PhDs or whoever your likely market would be, talking to people in general and recording that qualitative data. What you're really doing is getting feedback from on-the-fly focus groups. And of course, you can get some quantitative data through surveys, online polls, etc. too. You have to gather some data though. That is the key first step. Because you'll figure out very soon whether or not your idea is good or bad. There's also another myth that as a PhD who wants to start a business or who started a business that you just need to make something out of nothing. You need to go against everybody else. No matter what they say, they're all naysayers. Just do what you have in your head. Don't worry about feedback, right? We had this image of somebody standing alone against the world and somehow being a successful entrepreneur. The problem is you can't be an entrepreneur without customers, which means you need feedback from other people. And this all starts with validating your idea. Number 2, business modeling. So eventually you're going to zero in on an idea, and then you have to create a model around that idea by turning that idea into a value proposition. What pain points is that idea going to alleviate? what benefits is that pain point, what benefits is that idea going to provide? Okay, what benefits is it going to provide? What pain points is it going to alleviate? What need is it going to meet? What problem is it going to solve? Turning your idea into something that articulates those benefits and the solution that's going to alleviate pain points is called creating a value proposition. What's the value you're going to add? What are you proposing? And then you have to take that value proposition and align it with an ideal customer. This doesn't happen automatically. It's going to start like this, and you might go like this, changing who your ideal customer is, changing your value proposition until you start to zero in on something that's as perfectly aligned as possible. That's business modeling. Number 3, we talked about this already. Creating a product, a minimum viable product, an MVP, turning your value proposition into a product that's just good enough to survive the marketplace. A lot of PhDs get stuck here because A, they have an idea, they'll talk about it all day long, but they never actually execute. They never turn that idea into a service or a product that other people will pay for. Okay, don't get stuck there. You got to go from idea to value proposition to minimum viable product. Minimum viable meaning, again, just viable enough to be useful in the marketplace so somebody can use it. You can always make it better. A lot of PhDs get stuck here too because they're perfectionists. They want to have a multi-billion-dollar business before they'll even start. They want to have millions of dollars in investors before they'll even start to create something. You got to create something that people can actually buy to be in business. Productization. Even if you have a consulting service, you have to productize it. You have to put it down on paper what that service is so people can read it and say, oh, I want to buy this, and then buy it. You can't just try to explain it or think people are going to understand it. They don't live in your head. You got to put it down on paper, tweak it so that your ideal customer understands it and will pay for it. Sales and marketing. Sales and marketing, okay, this is another area that PhDs try to stay away from. They're like, well, I'm going to innovate, I'm going to create. That's what I do as a PhD. We're innovators. We like to discover. But to have to sell something, that's icky, right? Creating a sales funnel, people that have a problem that your product will solve. You have to find those people, okay? And you have to find a subset of those people first called beta testers, people who are your ideal customers that are early adopters, that have the problem. They've created they've put together a solution. They've using their own tools. They've pieced together a solution for that problem, an interim solution. And because they've done that, because they've actually spent time or money doing that, that shows you that there's a problem that people will actually invest time and energy into. Those people are your early adopters. They're your beta testers. You got to find those people first, and you have to sell your product to them. Maybe to start, you give it to them for free so they can try it and give you feedback. That's how the exchange of value starts. But eventually, you need to get money in return for the solution for the product you're offering. Without this exchange, without making a sale, you don't have a business, you have a hobby. Okay, and then marketing is a different funnel that's above the sales funnel. So just actually putting out in people's awareness, helping them understand the problem that they have and articulating the solution that you have. And then putting them down this funnel to actually purchase your product so you can stay in business. Those are the 4 most important items. We're going to go through the last 6 here a little bit faster. So promotions and product funnels. Once you have one product that works, that people are buying for, you want to replicate it, or you want to create a product funnel. Let's say you have a product people are paying $100 for. You want to create one that people will pay $50 for, and then $1,000 for on the other side. And that way, you'll have a product funnel so people can purchase your products no matter what they have in terms of their price points, no matter what they're willing to pay. You have a solution for a larger and larger market because now you're creating a funnel of different products. You're going to have people who buy one product from you, and you solve their problems, and now you have what's called in business goodwill. And now they're going to buy additional products from you. So you got to start building more products. And again, your business will expand as you do this. Number 6, founding members and teams. You're probably asking, well, why doesn't this come first? Starting a business, a lot of people get obsessed with getting all of these people on board. Oh, I need this person to do this person to do this. But if you're starting a business, you likely don't have a lot of money. You can't pay people large salaries. So you're going to have to do most of the work yourself. But eventually, once you have something off the ground, once you have a minimum viable product, you can start bringing in other team members. You might have some founding team members to start. Either way, the point here is you have to learn how to work with people well. You have to learn how to manage effectively, how to de-hassle people, not demotivate them. And as PhDs, you can do this. You have leadership skills. You're very good at working autonomously, which means you can provide other people with autonomy. You can train them to do things well and not micromanage them. It's a key part of growing a business. Number 7, project management. So how do you actually get things done? In the world of tech, Agile project management, there's different types of Agile project management, like the Scrum methodology, which was created by a PhD, that will help you get things done in a much faster and better way than you're probably getting things done in academia right now. Academia uses the classical waterfall method where you do something all the way to completion and then you get feedback. It takes too long. You have to get things done faster. Imagine if you were in academia and you had a milestone meeting every month and you had clear guidelines. If you hit this milestone, you're going to graduate. If you do exactly this, you're going to get a professorship. If you do exactly this, you're going to get a raise. We don't have that in academia. It's very blurry, right? They move the target very often. I'm sure you've been told that you were going to get a raise or a promotion or a professorship or graduate, and then you did what they told you to kind of do, and then they said, well, you have to do something else. You can't run a business like this. You have to have very specific milestones and goals, a very specific process for managing projects and tasks. Number 8, capital and funding sources. I got great news for you. If you want to get investors for your business, it's easier to do as a PhD. Investors get very excited by people who have high-level technical knowledge, who have advanced degrees like PhDs. Now, you have to put together a good pitch deck. You have to put together a good executive summary, the collateral that you need to talk to investors. You have to actually know how to present to them, how to build those relationships, which is my next point. But as a PhD, you are well equipped to do this. You have an advantage over other people. Here's the key though. You have to create some value first. Don't think that you're gonna live the Facebook dream in Silicon Valley and have a concept and have people rush to invest billions of dollars in you just because you asked for money. It doesn't work like that. You have to create a minimum viable product. You'll likely have to show profitability first before getting investors. There are, of course, exceptions, but your focus should be on building your business, and then you can start creating a plan for bringing on capital. And a big part of bringing on capital means in building relationships with investors, whether they're angel investors. There's even angel investor websites now, getting involved with an incubator or an accelerator. There are things that you can do to help your business grow faster, where you can get around other entrepreneurs, seasoned entrepreneurs, and you can work your way up to getting small investments to larger and larger investments, maybe even VC investors one day. 10th and finally, risk management. This is key. You've likely heard the stats. 90% of small businesses fail after 10 years, et cetera, et cetera. They're misleading. You can be very successful starting your business today because all that it takes to start a business today is an internet connection. You used to need a factory, teams of people. It's much easier today than it ever has been before, and you don't have to quit your job or stop your job search to do it. This is something you can do now, whether it's consulting or freelancing. And then eventually you take those services and you productize them, or you scale them, or you increase your billables. You start your business, you get it off the ground, you go through the ideation, value proposition, business modeling process we discussed. All of this is possible for you. And as a PhD, you are well positioned to have a successful business, to work in a startup, to build a startup, because again, you are an expert experimenter, an expert researcher, an expert action taker. If you have questions on this, please let me know in the comments below. We have a very special new course, a new program that we're launching in about 10 days called PhD CEO. PhD CEO. You can click the link above to get on the waitlist to learn more about this new program. It's our biggest, most complete program, 10 modules. Other entrepreneurs, other investors are in the program. It's all about helping you get your business off the ground or excel in the startup that you already have. Click the link above to be taken to the waitlist page to get the full details on the program. As always, remember your value as a PhD and start thinking and acting like a successful industry professional.